Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to yet another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailer. There is a new one released this month, and this might be one of the last ones. There might be one more next month prior to the release on the 18th, but this is definitely going to be one of the last ones, and it's a chonky boy. It is a Lechonk proportioned video, because it's about 14 minutes long, which is pretty long for one of these trailers. So I'm expecting a bit of information here. Whether it's a few new Pokemon, new trainers and characters, or something of that matter. Maybe even a little more information on the region and how things work in this new one. I would definitely be up to hearing more about Paldea. Maybe even a few new types of things going on and everything. I'm definitely very interested, though. There's a lot of possibilities they can go with this, and I'm just very interested to see where they take this game. I'm very excited for it already. I believe I already mentioned that as of current, unless anything notable changes, I'm going with Scarlet, and my starter choice is going to be Fuecoco. I like Sprigatito. I'm not a fan of Quaxley, but Fuecoco is definitely my favorite currently, because one, it's a derpy little shit, and I kind of love that. Two, it is a literal chili pepper. Fuecoco is a literal chili pepper. Like, look at the shape of it. I think that's amazing. I really love chili peppers, so you kind of get the appeal there for me. Plus, it's also a Gator Pokemon, and we haven't had a Gator starter since Gen 2 with Totodile. And I've seen art of these two together, and it's super cute. It's just everything about Fuecoco just is my kind of shit. So I'm very excited for that. And there's been other great looking ones to be introduced in the other trailers too. We have Cloth, we have Fido, we obviously have Lechonk, which I referenced earlier. And then we have a bunch of characters who have been introduced, and even gotten to see more of the region, and even the region's 3 separate storylines. So I feel there's going to be a lot to this game. And I'm hoping that, like with Generation 8, they do take the route where they end up going with a DLC instead of a follow-up game. I think that was actually a much better idea. And now that they can put DLC out much easier in the current generation, obviously, it just makes more sense to me. And they can do like a couple different DLCs like they did with the last generation. But I feel that would be a much better option than just repeating the game again in a different form. Like the third game kind of thing, like we have with Yellow and Crystal and Emerald and so on and so forth, was fine, but there were definitely some issues with it that made it a little janky, and honestly it made it hard to want to play again, because it's like you already played through this game. There's some very slight differences, but it doesn't really make it that exciting to play through again. And while I don't like Generation 5, I will give it credit that at least with Black 2 and White 2, it was a direct sequel rather than a follow-up game. So it changed things up quite a bit because it was a different story and all. And Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, from what I've heard, because I actually have not played them or seen them played myself, I only know a few things, change things up quite a lot as well. Um, but and X and Y just didn't have anything. But I think the DLC model that came in with Generation 8 is the best idea because I feel like it allows us to expand upon the game without, having a full other game to pay for again. You don't have to pay to get an entirely new game. You're just paying a smaller amount to get an additional package of content. And again, this can once again be used to bring in more Pokemon that weren't in there in the first place and new locations and everything. I think it's just a smart idea. So I doubt we're going to get any information on anything like that today, but considering how big of a video, I'm still expecting quite a lot of information. And I'm hoping for the best when it comes to this game. I wonder if we'll get starter evolutions, because people have still been waiting for those. Unless Fuecoco's evolution or evolutions are really bad, I'm still going with Fuecoco. And that's only if I even know Fuecoco's evolutions before gameplay. If I don't know the evolutions before gameplay, it's like that doesn't even matter. But yeah, like with recent ones, this will be redirected just to be safe. It's like, I know a lot of people put the reactions to these up on YouTube directly. I just want to be safe. I put like one of them up on YouTube directly, and I'm very anxious about it to this day. I have had an entire other account of multiple channels deleted, all because of copyright bullshit. I don't want to risk it if I don't need to. So it's going to be redirected down below. It is going to be on Breach. That is our new home location for reactions after BitChute fucked me over. But yeah, so we're going to be on Breach. The link down below will link you to it. Should be all Gucci. Just click the link, go to it, watch it, and then come back here and let me know your thoughts. I will definitely be letting you know my thoughts on everything new revealed. But that being said, yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the trailer. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. This was a very surprisingly weak trailer. It wasn't bad by any means, it's just, it didn't reveal a lot new. There were a lot of things that we already knew about. In fact, I'd say most of it we already knew about. There's only a couple things that were like really a surprise here. In fact, pretty much the first 5 minutes were all stuff we had heard about before. But let's talk about the new stuff, the stuff that's more interesting to talk about here. They're really holding some things close to the chest at the moment, I feel. Like, they're not revealing as much as I feel like they could be. Maybe if they do one more trailer, maybe that one will reveal a lot more. Either way, let's talk about new stuff. Okay, TM machine at Pokemon Centers. So, this is a new thing altogether. Normally, in other games, you would buy TMs or find them in the wild, which you might still be able to do. But here, you have the ability to craft TMs. This crafting system seems similar in concept to the crafting in Legends Arceus, in which you could craft Pokeballs and other items, depending on, materials and resources that you had gathered in the wild. It seems to be the same thing here. For example, I have this screenshot up here right now. for Aerial Ace, which is a pretty common flying move, a pretty good one. 60 base power, really fast, never misses. Pretty good move, right? So the required resources for Aerial Ace, you need 800 league points, which I assume you gather through doing the Pokemon League stuff, or maybe there's some other way to do that. I don't know. That wasn't exactly explained. But you also need Starly feathers and Fletchling feathers to craft Aerial Ace. So it looks like you need 3 of each, and just the example on here shows 5 and 10 as being had, I think. Either that or it's the opposite. But either way, Aerial Ace, like, it needs Starly feathers, Fletchling feathers, and League points. League points, I assume, are just something that all of them need. And it even tells you when you're crafting it, like, who can learn it. Like, there's a little list of your Pokemon on the side, and it'll say, like, oh, this can be learned by Drifloon and Teddiursa, which is like, okay. But it cannot be learned by Girafarig, Komala, Growlithe, or is that Hetena? I think that's Hetena. So when you're crafting it, before you even make the TM, you get to know who can use it, which is a great idea. I think that's really smart. By having it tell you that, it gives you a little information that I feel is really good to know. That way you don't accidentally spend your points on the wrong thing. We also find out that you can face terrestrialized Pokemon in the wild. If you see a Pokemon glowing in the wild, that means it can terrestrialize on its own, which is really interesting. Meaning that you can find terrestrialized Pokemon, maybe having some rare Terra types, just out there at times. I don't know how common it's going to be, but we'll see when that comes out. The next thing of note, of course, is Girafarig. So, as I mentioned, I always thought Girafarig was very underrated. I think it's a very cute design. I think it's just a really fun, good Pokemon. It's not like amazing, but any Pokemon can be good depending on how you use it. So, Girafarig now has an evolution for Farigiraf, which is, I get the joke with the name. Once again, it's a palindrome. And the design is more orange on the body, with the tail having combined with its head, kind of creating both a more giraffe-like appearance, but also kind of, it almost looks like a helmet. Like I said in the reaction, it kind of looked like an astronaut helmet, and it kind of does. It's an interesting design, and I can't wait to see some fan art of this. I'm looking at the Pokédex entry. I'm trying to see if it will like show typings on here, because I kind of want to know if it like changes type at all, or if it's type like, I don't know. I don't think it's showing anything, because the entry here just shows the picture of wild Farigirafs. Calls the long neck Pokemon, but it's not showing a type. Oh, no, there we go. It's still normal psychic. Okay. Height, 10'6", 352.7 pounds. Okay, let's see its entry. The hardened head from the tail protects the head of the main body, as Farigiraf whips its long neck around to headbutt enemies. Okay, so in terms of its entry, it uses its neck and head as a weapon, which makes sense for a giraffe Pokemon. And the tail that has combined with the head acts as a helmet. It acts as a protective helmet. Okay, I can dig that. I can definitely dig that. It's the long necked Pokemon. We got a lot of information we already knew about the gym challenges and everything else, but we also got to see a little view of the the styling, the, character customization. It looks like hair is still the same in terms of styling. You choose your style, you choose your color. There might be more choices this time, but again, you might have to unlock some of them as you play along. Well, let me go back to that. And then with face looks, it looks like there's a lot more options. Like, it seems like you have eyes, eyebrows, eyelashes, lips, colors. It looks like there's even an option for like blemishes, like moles or freckles or whatnot. Looks like there's a lot more options. And you can even change outfit while you're doing that, it looks like. But yeah, there's like a bunch of different options. Like there's eyelash B, and then there's eyelash B has like 3 different like stages to it. So it looks like there's a lot of facial customization options. I heard that there may not be as many like outfit customizations in this game. I heard that you might have to stick to like certain types of like uniforms, school uniforms. I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen that in a trailer, but I have heard that. So take that with a grain of salt, basically. But then we also see another new addition, which I am really fucking excited about. The camera app. This one is definitely, I'd say my most excited new feature yet. Not just counting the Pokemon and stuff, just as a feature, I am most excited for it. And I am going to abuse the shit out of this. So at any point, it seems you can open up the camera and you take a selfie. It's selfie style. Though it looks like maybe you can switch that, because there's an option on here that says point camera. So maybe that means like you're taking a picture of something rather than a selfie. But you could take a selfie with like a Pokemon of yours and stuff. Maybe multiple. It looks like there's filters. You can hide the guide, of course. Reset the camera positioning and all. Rotate it. All that kind of information. Looks like you can change your own pose and expression and stuff as well. So that's fun. Yeah, it just looks like a really cool idea. Yeah, okay, so yeah, there are shots in here that show you being able to take a picture that's not a selfie. Like there's a shot that shows taking a picture of a couple swablu on top of a awning or whatnot. But then we get to another thing. We have picnics. So this is like the camps in Gen 8. In Gen 8, you could go camping, which allowed you to do stuff with your Pokemon and all, and then, eat. It could heal you, it could give you experience, and you could use ingredients that you've bought and whatnot to make different curries. In this game, picnics seem to be very similar. You can wash up your Pokemon if they've gotten dirty over your journey. You can play around with them and all. You can even find eggs, apparently, which is interesting. You can just find random Pokemon eggs. So that's... I wonder what kind of Pokemon you can get from that. Probably stuff like Togepi, I assume. But then there's kind of the big thing. So with this, like with the camping in the last one, the camping had curries, and there was all these different kind of curries you could make. This one, you have sandwiches. So let me try to get back to the beginning of that. So it looks like you have bread, you have like certain spices or sauces or whatnot you put down onto it right away, and then you have 10 minutes to choose ingredients, and you can place them down in any order, and it's based on the ingredients you have. So like it shows like there's 3 tomatoes on here, 3 cherry tomatoes, there's like a couple things of maybe it's not, it looks like it just copied from it, but either way you have to get the ingredients. They did say that. So you can sort out the sandwich any way you want. Probably there's going to be different kinds of breads, not just like the long sub kind of bread. There's probably going to be like shorter breads and like maybe some buns and stuff too, I would assume. There will be different kinds of vegetables, different kinds of meats, and there will probably be certain combinations that you can do that would make certain specific sandwiches and whatnot. Um, but it shows like there's ham, there's cucumber, there's just all kinds of different options. But it's always been kind of a thing that people have wondered. It's like, where does like stuff like meat come from? Because in the Pokemon world, there's no regular animals. That's what Pokemon are. And it's like, if you pay attention to Pokédex entries and other stuff like that, yeah, people eat Pokemon. That ham, that is Lechonk. Or Tepig or stuff like that. But yeah, it's like you are definitely eating Pokemon in that case. The vegetables, on the other hand, are probably just vegetables. Like, you're probably not eating from, like, grass-type Pokemon or anything. But the meat is 100% Pokemon. But yeah, and you finish it off by placing the top bread and then a pick. And you can insert the pick, I guess, wherever on the sandwich you want. It's like, why wouldn't you go for the center? That just makes the most sense. And yeah, with the curries in the last gen, the Pokemon who was in your first spot would eat with you, but in this, it looks like all your Pokemon eat with you. They're just kind of stuffed in behind you in this shot. And they're all just chowing down as well. So you can get star ratings on it, it looks like. And you get stuff from it. Catching Power Fairy, level 1. Encounter Power Grass, level 1. And Raid Power Ground, level 1. I don't know what that means. Are those items, or are they upgrades to, like... Does, like, upgrade to Catching Power mean that, like, for Fairy Pokemon, it's easier to catch them? And Encounter Power Grass, does that mean it's easier to encounter grass Pokemon? Is that the kind of stuff it means? I genuinely don't know. I would assume that's what it would mean, but I mean, there's nothing saying that. It looks like you can take pictures while picnicking as well. Let me see what it shows here. So it shows wash, talk, throw ball, crouch, whistle, recall, and it looks like that's specifying on Koraidon currently there. Hide guide, yeah. Okay, so all this stuff that seems to just be pretty simple. Then you have the Terra battle and everything, the raid battle, which not really anything new was shown there. So yeah, it looks like that's pretty much all we got from this one. Not a lot new, but the new stuff we did get is pretty interesting. We got some cool new features with picnics and sandwiches being brought in, as well as the camera app. And we got a new Pokemon with Farigiraf, an evolution of Girafarig. Which, this isn't a new thing. It's like other, like, previous generations have had region-exclusive evolutions. Like, well, even for, like, specifically, like, regional forms. Like, Galarian Corsola turns into Cursula, and Galarian Meowth turns into Berserker. But they're specific evolutions, or like, even, like, Farfetch'd turns into Surfetch'd and stuff. But it's like specific region evolutions. And this is kind of the same thing. It's like Girafarig evolves into Farigiraf in the Paldean region. So that's really interesting. And again, I actually do like the design. So yeah, I think that this was interesting. It was just a weaker trailer in terms of how much new stuff it showed. It really centered on showing a lot of stuff we already knew about, let's be honest. Though another thing we did find out, just real quick, I almost forgot to mention, is that you do have to use, like, the feature to send out your Pokemon in the Team Star battles. You have to send them out to battle on their own and defeat enough grunts through that way to actually go into, like, a regular battle with the leader of the camp. So that's interesting. Which unfortunately means I don't think you get a lot of time to spend at those camps. It seems like it's going to go by pretty quick. But if there's a bunch of those camps, which it seems like there's going to be, um, maybe that'll make up for it. Um, either way, either way, I would love to know what you think. So tell me in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet trailer? And what are your thoughts on the new stuff that was revealed? Let me know down below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.